Okay, starting over. Hi guys. It's... Okay. So what I was trying to say... I'm glad this isn't recording. Okay. I'll wait for everybody to filter back in. Hello guys. Sorry for the breakdown. I'll wait for everybody to get the notification that the live is back. Hi Marissa. Hello. I'll wait for everybody to filter back in. It's... Okay. Yeah. Just the beauties of going live and realizing that we're human and yeah. Okay, so getting to know your deck. Like I was saying in the other video, which has now disappeared into the void. When you first meet somebody and it's just a stranger, it feels so weird if you just go up to them and start talking about your problems. There's kind of an introduction that needs to be had first. So first, you want to say hi. And it's very similar. You go into a store, you pick out a deck, and you're just sitting there and you're holding it and you love the energy of it. You take it home, you don't immediately pull it out and do a reading. Some decks you can do that with, but in my experience, it helps if there's a couple steps in between. Okay, so today that's what we're going to do. Today's workbook is all about that as well. Being able to sit down and interview your deck. Now, I did put the workbook in the pinned post, but let me pop a link in here again so everybody can see it. Move this a moment. If Facebook would load. But what it has is the giant spread that I made, and I custom made this spread because I would constantly go on Google and look up different interview spreads. But there's a couple steps to do before you actually do the interview. So first off, I personally connect more with a deck when I sit down, and there's something so special about just unwrapping it. But you sit down, you unwrap it, you have a moment, you look at everything that comes with it, and you look at each card individually. I really recommend that, especially for new people who have never had a deck before and they're like, ooh, it's a shiny thing and I don't understand. So you pick it out and you just take it one by one, you know? And then what you go ahead and do after you've done looking at the beautiful cards and after you're done, admiring how wonderful they are and you're like, oh, my intuition was on point. I picked the perfect deck for me. What you then do is... Sorry, things popping up. What you then would go ahead and do is take a look at the author's notes on the deck. Because every single deck, before you even do the interview, and I realized this when I talked about interviewing the deck with you guys live, with my tea leaf fortune cards, because when I did that deck is not meant to be interviewed in the traditional way. It's not supposed to be shuffled like I shuffled it, because there's so many cards. You have to put it in a bag and kind of whoosh it around. And if I had paid attention to the author's notes first, I would have known that. So sometimes your deck will come with things like that. Or for example, the Wisdom of the Golden Path Oracle. They have mantras on each one. And would I have known that if I had read the book first? Yes. But if I look just at, the card and see the word, I'm like, I don't understand what the Sea of Wisdom means. So make sure you sit down and read the author's notes first and how the deck is supposed to be portrayed. That'll really go a long way with you understanding how to interview the deck, As it's slowly loading and I'm trying to get you guys this workbook. Haha, here we go. If it will work. Okay, so you've sat down, you've looked at it, you've gone through it. Now, this is the part where everybody's usually in free groups. They're like, how do I cleanse the deck? Because they hear that you need to cleanse the deck first. And honestly, it's really, really simple on how to do this. What you would go ahead and do is shuffle it while you're watching TV or something mundane, while you're waiting for cookies to bake, or I don't want to say while you're going to the bathroom, but that's an option. You know, while you're doing something and you're just sitting there and you're not really thinking of anything, just shuffle it all together. And you can decide if you want to do reversals or not. And the reason why is it allows your everyday energy to go into the deck. Because if you think of it like this, humans are energetic beings. We all have a vibration. We have heat. We eat and sleep to replenish our energy. And we can put our energy into other things. That's why we can randomly shock things. Which is why, you know, we need to be warmed by some things. We can, in turn, make other things warm. Like, literally, with friction, with energy. So, if you think of a deck like a conduit, when we touch it and we hold it and we shuffle it, we are putting our energy into the deck. And that is more cleansing, personally, than using sage and all that. So, but you can still do that, but I personally say shuffle the deck. It makes it so much better. Another thing you can do, for example, the metaphysical shop where I got my recent deck of cards is super far up north compared to me. It's like a good 45-minute drive sometimes, depending on traffic. So I'll put the deck in my purse first, before I even get to open it. So then the cards already start to get to know me. They get to know my energy. And that's a good thing, even if you don't have time to sit down and look at all the cards first and familiarize yourself. Put them in your purse or in your pocket if they're small enough, and carry it around and do your everyday things. Because it's also like the exposition for the cards. They get to know your everyday stasis. The first 15 minutes of a movie or a book that you read is just the exposition. You find out the backstory. The cards are doing that with you. They're getting to know your backstory. This is the beginning of information that you would know when you get to know somebody. Like, hey, my name's Rachel. I like baking and knitting and all this kind of stuff. So that's how it is at first. You know? Let me see. And it says, sweet, the Two of Cups jumped out. Ooh, yeah, put that on the side. If a card, for those who don't know, because we have some very, very new people in the group, we have, how many do we have? We have over 200 people in this group now, and it's a little scary. We have, last I checked, 223 people. Oh, it's almost perfect for numerology. It's almost perfect. We have that many people in the group now, so we have quite a few newcomers that came in. So if you have a card that jumps out or falls out while you're shuffling, put that on the side. That's usually an important message from your deck that they are saying right now, you need to know this. So put it on the side. So Anna, put yours on the side. So so let's say you've put it with your stuff and like walked around with it and you've shuffled it and all that, but you're worried because it was a deck that's been gifted to you or bought from someone that's used, which I understand that fear. My very first deck was a used deck. So you can clear the previous person's energy if you're worried about it, again, by shuffling. You can put clear quartz or citrine on it if you have it, because they're naturally cleansing. You can sage it. Just burn some sage incense and put the cards through the incense. Super easy. Or you can put it with your stuff for a couple hours, however long you feel like it. You can leave it there for weeks, or you can just do it for a couple hours. Makes it so much easier for yourself. Because then it's just like, ooh, new person's energy you need to absorb, kind of thing. So, after that, you're going to sit down and interview it. After all that work, which usually it'll just take a couple minutes, really. It knows your energy now. And let's see if I can pull up the spread so you guys can see it if you can't pull up the link. Let's get it pulled up. It'd be much easier actually to just go here. And what I went ahead and did actually, I can get the card slate backed out. Anna says, can I use Palo Verde instead of sage? I can't tolerate the smell of sage. Yeah. Whatever works for your nose. Okay, if there's something that you're sensitive to, feel free. Go on ahead. Change it for you. Nemo says, thank you for doing this. It's been a wonderful gift for the new year. Super welcome. And I figured this would be the perfect time, especially because today is the supermoon. And it's the full moon, and we get this wonderful start taking control of your life through tarot kind of thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the spread super quick. Let me see. Ah, you're moving. Okay, let's turn it around. Okay, so this is the spread. Like I said, it's kind of big. But there's a reason for that, okay? So first off, you get your nature of the deck, its strengths and its weaknesses, okay? For 2 and 3. Then you'll get the questions that the deck likes to answer, the questions that it doesn't like to answer. This is important because if you're with somebody who's picky about their career and you ask them a love question, then it's like, wait, you're asking the wrong thing. Then you have what it thinks about you, like what it thinks your strengths are, what it thinks your weaknesses are, and how your relationship will grow together, what it thinks it'll teach you. So very simple, and you see how it all kind of coincides together around its nature, you know, what it likes to do, how the relationship will be together, things like that. Oh, and first impressions of you. I'm not sure if I did that. First impressions of who you are. So this is the PDF that you'll actually get when you click that link. And you have space for all your lovely questions. And I know, for those of us who do not have a printer and aren't able to, you know, print it out or type it out, you could easily copy it down in a notebook. Part of this week, a part of the challenge, is you need a place to write your stuff down. So if you're not able to print out the workbooks, write it down. Make it much, much easier. Let this be the beginning of your tarot journal if you haven't made one yet. So I went ahead and interviewed my decks, and I will show you my findings. Wahahaha. And I took a picture. Marissa said, is it okay for us to do the 4-card version you gave us earlier this month? Yeah, actually that 4-card version is a teeny snippet of this spread. So if you feel like that gives you all the information that you want to know, cool. I actually just picked cards from this spread. Gave you guys a teeny little snippet. So you're very welcome to do that, Marissa. And let's see. Also, a big part of this challenge is participation in not only just the live streams, but if you can't do the live streams, at least the participation post. It's been pinned to the top of the group, so you guys can easily find it. And that way you can go ahead and put your findings for your interviews there. You can post a picture of your deck so everybody can see the prettiness of the cards and want to go buy more. Things like that. So make sure you participate, because that's what makes a challenge super, super fun. You get to help each other grow and help each other interpret the cards. So here's spreads. I took pictures of them. I also have them here. All right, so my Enchanted World Tarot is what I took a picture of. So for its nature, we got the 4 of Wands, see, up at the top. So all about happiness and friendship. I mentioned last month when we did the Intuitive Fool's Journey how this deck was sunshine and roses. It really is. Okay, it likes the Princess of Wands, so it likes questions about creativity and, you know, probably sex questions, things about passion. And the princess for this is Paige, by the way. For questions it doesn't like, the 7s of Hearts, it doesn't like choice, because Hearts is cups for this. For questions, let's take a look. What was it? Questions the deck loves, that's right. Ah, so questions that the deck loves. It loves questions about fighting. 5 of Wands here. Maybe conflict when it comes to love. You're fine, Michelle. It's the Enchanted World Tarot. Okay, so this is the first edition of the deck, so you guys can see. It's the tiny one. They do have a new one that came out that is much bigger, but this is like the size of a regular deck of cards. It's super small. You're very welcome. Happy to help. So, it likes questions about conflict when it comes to passion and stuff, but it doesn't like the 9 of Wands, so it doesn't like when you've been hurt by the fighting, and it doesn't like answering questions about that. Ugh, this deck. And what it thinks about me, the 3 of Cups, okay, so happiness, friendship, I believe so. And then what it thinks I need to grow on the moon, so working on things that are illusions, okay, I hear you, deck. And then where we'll go together, be kind of a hermit. Yeah, I haven't used this deck very often because it doesn't resonate with me very well. I'm not a big fan of my Enchanted World just because of how the art style is. Some of it's pretty, like the Princess of Wands, she's super pretty, but other times I'm just like, eh. Like the triangle over the Queen of Pentacles, I wouldn't put that there. That's right, the Queen of Pentacles. Forgetting things. Oh, how can I connect with the deck? That's right, I put that question in here because it's important. So, connecting with my inner Queen of Pentacles-ness, which is interesting for me because that's my role model card. I love my Queen of Pentacles. She's super awesome. So does that make sense so far for the spread? Just to see an example with this one. Give me a thumbs up or a yes or something. Or a no if you don't understand. Okay, I got a heart. So yes, I believe so. Okay, so the next one. Touchscreen. Awesome, cool. Next one, my Witch's Tarot. I love this deck. This is the deck that I went out to Barnes & Noble and I picked and I sensed the energy and I'm so happy with it. I love it. So, for this deck, it's a little bit different, you know? This one's a little bit more for the Rider-Waite kind of style. You see a little bit more comparison there. So, its nature is the 9 of Wands, which is funny because that's the kind of question that the Enchanted World Tarot doesn't like. Oh, I knew there was a reason I liked the Witch's Tarot. Sorry. Charger. Okay. So, it is all about that conflict that you've been having issues with, you know? So, another thing... Okay, its strengths is the High Priestess, which makes sense. This deck, in the author's notes, is specifically to help you with your magical practice, and to help you grow with magic. So, that makes sense. It's all about the High Priestessy maiden type stuff, because they list her as the maiden. They list the mother as Empress, and list the moon as the crown. So, that makes sense for this deck. Its weaknesses, 9 of Swords, so it doesn't like being independent. And blunt and straightforward. Okay, that makes sense. It likes questions that you've had to wait for a long time on. The 7 of Pentacles here. But it doesn't like super detailed questions. Like the ultra specific, will I meet my true love after flipping a coin and it landing on tails and Pennywise comes out of the closet with a balloon. You know, there's things like that. It doesn't like those kind of super specific questions that you pay just attention to detail. And especially with money, it doesn't like money potential questions. Okay, so how I can connect 9 of Swords. In this kind of instance, it's like, you know, I need to get out of my room. I always think of a moody teenager on the bed, because I was that moody teenager on the bed, being holed in their room, and, you know, the moon's outside, and they want to go outside, but they can't. Yeah, That's the kind of mood I'm getting with this deck. That's probably why it draws to me. It's so dramatic. Where it thinks my strengths are the Nine of Swords. Okay, so taking action. That's new. I'm horrible at taking action. I'm glad that's changed. Where it thinks I need to grow, the Empress. Okay, so being my Empress self. And then where it thinks we'll go together, the Six of Pentacles, where I'll get to that, you know, fancy robed giving of wealth kind of relationship. Okay. So that's me interviewing these two decks. And it makes it super fun, especially because then you have put your energy into cards and you've talked to them and you've really opened yourself up to them, and it's not just straight out the box, what can you tell me about my boyfriend? And it's like, who? I don't understand. So it's a little bit more courteous. And also, this is the perfect opportunity for you to start checking out stalker cards on your decks, especially if you have more than one deck, and you choose to do this interview spread with more than one. You have different elements and colors based on the deck, so you're able to tell a theme. So for example, with the Enchanted World Tarot, a lot of it is pastels, and mixed with some really bold color somewhere, so like a bold blue or a bold black or things like that. So that's one common thread, and it lets you know, okay, if I want this type of mood for a reading, this is what I would use. This would be my love deck if I were to do a bunch of love readings, and typically that's what I do. If it's a love reading, I do this. If it's a typical everyday question, because it's the most familiar looking for the symbols, I do my Witch's Tarot. Especially because that's my more popular one. Because it's so pretty. So, okay, so what if you don't know the meaning of the cards that come up? Because, like I said, there's some really new people in the group. So then what you would do, if you don't know the meanings, is first think about what they're trying to tell you. So what vibe are you getting off the High Priestess? Before you look at the meanings in the book, before you go look them up, what vibe does she give you? What kind of person would she be? Does she have children? What's her degree in? You know, make it a little bit more to you. What vibe does she give you? And then go ahead, and by doing that, you get kind of what she symbolizes for you, and that kind of person, and then compare that to the book that came with the deck. Or if there's no book, go on Biddy Tarot and look it up, or just Google it and check. Ooh, good question. Michelle says, do you shuffle between each card pull? That is a very good question. Honestly, it depends on the reader and the deck. So for example, for these decks, I don't, because it doesn't call for it. My Tea Leaf Fortune? Yeah. I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to shuffle. I pull out a card, shuffle. Pull out a card, shuffle. That way it's truly, random. So it really does depend on you. If you feel the need to pull out a card and then keep shuffling and keep doing that to make it a little more random for yourself and make it more intuitive, go for it. But that's really more, if the deck doesn't call for it, that's really up to you. Well, that's an awesome question, though. But yeah, I encourage you, after, the video ends and I send out the replay and I send you guys the workbook as well, because you'll get a copy of it in the email. What you can go ahead and do is do your own interview, take a picture, pop it in the pinned post in the group, and let's all share and let's all look at each other's decks and try and help each other out, especially because we have some varying levels of experience here, from 3 months ago to 40 years in this group. And this is really also going to help us with our own intuition, because like I was trying to tell you with some of the recorded videos for this month, is when you compare the decks together and you see different versions of the same card, it will help you expand your knowledge of that card as well, even if you just look at a different image, because that'll pop up later and remind you. Anna says, do you add clarifier cards while doing an interview if the card doesn't make much sense? You can, but here's my problem with clarifier cards. This is how you get, What's your nature? I don't know what it means. I don't know what that means. And you, sooner or later, you end up with 10 cards trying to explain each other. And that's how your deck gets agitated. So, I encourage you first to try and reword the question in your mind first. So, for example, if you get a really positive card, so let's say the sun for your deck's weakness, and you're like, wait, I don't understand how being joyful is a weakness of yours, then it's like, okay, what compared to the strength would it be? Like, maybe it's good at being happy, but only about something specific. Or maybe it's not good at blind optimism. So, for example, I don't read reversals. And if you don't, then maybe that would be a chance to see, okay, this would be reversed meaning. It doesn't like blind optimism. It doesn't like just being happy for no reason. It wants a reason to be happy, you know? Or if you get a really negative card for how it feels about you right now, then that's when you think about, okay, how am I in this card situation right now? How am I the Ten of Swords right now? What is stabbing me in the back? What swords do I think are impacting my intuition right now? You know, things like that. So give it a little bit of thought, and then if you still can't figure it out, pull one clarify card. And if you still can't figure it out, post it in the group, and we'll go ahead and help. And I'll help at no matter what the stage is. Even if it's a couple days later, because Facebook doesn't let me know when you guys post in the group. So let me know if you have any questions about it, and I'll be more than happy to help you. But yeah, this is today's stuff, and it's super fun. All you're going to do is sit down and get a cup of tea and talk to your cards. Do you guys have any questions before you get started? And for those that are watching this late or at any other time, you can do this whenever. Okay, there's no time limit on this. So if we're on day 4 and you just now got started doing day 1, that's totally okay. This isn't going to disappear. It's always going to be for free. It'll always be here. Just join it at any time. And it says, when are we going to get to post the spreads we got? You can do that now if you want. Yeah, when you first load up the group page on mobile or on the desktop, the very first post that says pin post, you'll see the logo for today, and you can put it there. Nemo says, should we shuffle and draw a card for every position, return it, and do it again to get more information if it wants to use the same cards to tell us something? That's a very good question. You definitely could, but I was going to go in this to a little bit tomorrow. That's when having a notebook and a couple pieces of paper really help, so you remember. Personally, I like just drawing and leaving them all out, because let me pull up this picture and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So for example, I can see the body directions when I look at this. So 7 of Pentacles is looking at me. High Priestess looking at me. 9 of Swords is looking, her face is going towards the Queen of Swords. If I didn't have this spread all laid out like this, I wouldn't see that. I'd have to mentally see that image. Just like the Knight of Swords is looking at the 7 of Pentacles. That says something to me. Okay? So it likes questions about waiting and putting your time into something, and it thinks that I have enough drive and action in myself to go straight towards that. You know? And if it's looking right out at me, that tells me that I have an internal problem that I need to fix first. So I have to internally get to that High Priestess, get to that 9 of Wands, get to that Empress, okay? That's why I like to lay them all out. But that's me personally. If you want to go ahead and do them one at a time, that's a total preference of yours. I just really recommend writing them down. Okay, but body positions are a huge thing for me because I'm a director. I'm in theater. So that really pulls a lot into my reading. We got a couple of questions. No problem. Anna says, already working on deck 2, Dreams of Gaia, and it's pretty different from my Gaia and Tarot, both art and personality. I love the Dreams of Gaia. It's tied with my favorite right now. Tea Leaf Fortune and Dreams of Gaia are my favorites right now. So I adore that deck, and I really recommend that if you really want to jump in intuitively to pick that deck up. It's super wonderful. Oh, I know. Marissa says, I'm drinking gunpowder green tea with my reading. Ooh. You know, guys, I actually, I picked up a bunch of tea books from the library the other day, and I was going over the history of tea and just, oh my god. Just how it was made, where the first tea leaves came from, you know. The Japanese are the ones that made the powder tea so popular, because monks from Japan came over and got powdered green tea, because that was the only kind at the time, and took it back over there. But then when the Mongols took over China, they got rid of that and just stuck with the leaves, and it's so much stuff. I could go on forever about tea. Oh my god. Hence the group name. I could go on forever. Melissa says, do I just lay the cards down for the interview, or do we ask each card the individual question before we lay it down? You can definitely do that. What I like to do, while I'm shuffling, just because I'm used to, I first started doing anonymous readings, not hearing the question or having the other person shuffle. I still probably wouldn't have the other person shuffle. I'd shuffle and read the question, because then it still messes with my energy. It still helps me internalize it. So while I'm shuffling, I'd think over the question, and while I lay them out, sometimes I'll say the question again. You know, but that's totally up to you. You can definitely do that. You're super welcome for the explanations. Awesome. Does anybody have any other questions? These are awesome questions. I love questions. Super welcome. Yeah. And remember, don't stress yourself out. Don't stress yourself out about this. It's supposed to be very, very fun. And this whole week is supposed to be very fun. So I apologize once again for my breakdown. It's technology, and it's Monday. I was so excited for this. It was going great, and then everything at once. So I apologize for that. Thank you so much for sticking through it with me, because you guys are awesome. All of you are amazing. And I will be looking in the group to see what you guys went ahead and said. Hi, Erica. We actually just finished. So, but go ahead and watch the replay, and we will go ahead and look forward to seeing your answers in the pinned post. Melissa says, I'm already getting the vibe that my deck doesn't like me. What do I do about that? Ooh, good question. Yeah, I've been through that. But specifically with this goddamn Enchanted World Tarot. And that was because it was gifted to me. Was the deck gifted to you, Melissa? So happy to have you a part of the group, Erica. That's awesome. Nemo, it'll always be 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that's 11 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. And if you can't figure out your time zone, let me know what it is, and I will help you. Melissa, no, but new. Ooh. Then, if it doesn't care for you and you get that vibe, I'd ask it. Ask it and see why you think it doesn't like you. And if it gives you like a really snarky answer, try putting it with your stuff for a couple hours. Like, wrap it in a shirt, or if you have a bookcase where all your stuff is, put it there. If you have any crystals, you can put some crystals on it. Things that belong to you and mean a lot to you, try putting them with the deck. That's just a difficult deck, and we need to snap it out of that. I know my husband got the Necronomicon Tarot, and he had to have his deck with all of his stuff for a few weeks before it would do anything. Melissa said, but recommended by an ex-boyfriend. That might be why. You might have a negative association with the deck because of your ex. Might be a block. Yeah, Erica, that's a great thing. You sleep with the new deck under your pillow. You definitely can. You can absolutely do that. Yeah, I don't anymore just because I'm all over the place and I don't want to ruin and bend my pretty cards. Marissa says, have you ever sat near your deck? People used to do that. Yeah, I'd put it on the nightstand, especially after my daughter was born, and I got a new deck. I got the Dreams of Gaia after she was born, and I'd put it next to me instead, just to avoid getting breast milk on it. It's Rider-Waite. Okay, so Rider-Waite, you could try a couple different things. As long as you resonate with the deck, then it can totally work. But personally for me, I don't resonate with Rider-Waite. I resonate with things close to Rider-Waite. Like the Witch's Tarot. So, it could also just be a personal thing. But definitely ask it. If you feel like it doesn't like you, it'll straight up tell you why it doesn't care for you. But yeah, if you guys don't have any other questions, I will see you in the group. You've used it before but haven't interviewed it. That might also be why. Yeah, you know what I mean by just starting the conversation off and asking it questions instead of, getting to know it first. So that might be why. We'll see. But yeah, I will see you guys in the group. And tomorrow I will be a little bit more sane. Maybe. I'm crazy. Maybe. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday, guys. Bye.